Alright guys, I got my Arrma Infraction right here, and in this video I'm going to show y'all how to fit the Corvette C8 body to it. The tools you'll need is a 2mm hex driver, a Phillips screwdriver, and a 17mm wheel wrench. So for this body to work on the Infraction, you're either going to have to change the rear diffs to the felony rear diffs, because this body is actually supposed to be for Arrma Felony, which has taller rear tires. The Infraction, however, has the same tires throughout. So what you have to do is, if you don't want to change the diffs, is buy these Power Hobby wheels, which are wider, so they'll fill in the fenders back here and it doesn't look weird. Next, you're gonna have to change your body mounts. So I went ahead and bought new body mounts because I like to switch between this body and the Infraction body. I like them both. I can't choose one over the other, so I like to switch. But if you're just gonna trash the stock body and keep this one for a while, just reuse your stock mounts. That'd be perfectly fine. But you have to change which hole they go in and how high up they stick up. I'll show you that when we install them. And yeah, of course you'll need a new splitter to match the front of the car here. So if that sounds interesting, let's start putting it together. So earlier when I said you needed a Phillips screwdriver, you don't. A 2mm will work just fine. I need a Phillips screwdriver because these are the only screws I have that are long enough to go down in here and hold the body mounts on. I think from factory they come 2mm, but where this was a Limitless, I changed it to an Infraction. Now I'm changing it to a Corvette. These are the only screws I had that'll work, so just a little side note there. So here are the body mounts that came off the Infraction for the Infraction body, and here are the ones that are going to go on for the C8. This is the front one, and this is the front. The Infraction uses a 32mm for the front, with the holes as high up as they'll go. The Corvette uses a 20mm with what I'm gonna assume is maybe the third hole, maybe the middle hole, if I had to take a guess. Because there's a hole shown in the bottom and there's a hole shown on top. So you put it in the middle hole for the front and just chuck the front back on there. And for the rear, the C8 uses a 32 and the Infraction uses a 20. And for these, you put them in the lowest hole, so basically as low as they'll go. And then you just put it right there on the back. And screw everything down, change your splitter, and tires, and you're good to go. Alright, I got the body mounts installed and the splitter. I ended up taking this foam bumper off because I don't believe it's going to fit the C8 body very well. It's supposed to be for the Infraction, obviously. And also, just to make all these screws here more easily accessible, because when the foam bumper was on there, it covered up the outer two here. So, everything is installed, so now we're going to get the tires on, and then the body. Now, with these tires, you have to install some spacers right here. They're included, so don't worry. You ain't got to find them yourself. They just slide on the axle just like that. I think they come with spacers because where the mounting spot is so thin, I don't know what it's called, but this right here, this area right here, where it's so thin and where the hex is so deep, I don't think there's a lot of contact, and that's why they probably provide you a spacer. But when I run these tires on my Typhon, I don't have to use a spacer, but those hexes are a lot thicker. These pieces here are a lot thicker. But on the Infraction, you have to use these little spacers, and they work pretty good. I haven't had any issues with them. I couldn't find these two because they're underneath the tires. Oh, I guess some popped off. And last one. And then just install the tires. Fat ones go in the back, obviously, and skinny ones go in the front. So now that everything is complete, you can now put your body on and admire it, I guess, or play with it, whatever you want to do with it. So I will have to play with the droop screws and set the right height because yeah, the fitment is just looking a little weird, especially in the back. But you gotta remember, when you add 8S lipos in here, it'll bring the weight down, or it'll weigh the car down some. So anyway, I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'll see you in one of my next videos. Have a great night.